Before I begin this video, I just want to make it very clear that the base design I'm about to show you is not my own work. This is a 2x2 design that hJune referenced in a recent video. It's been a couple of months since then, and I don't expect him to upload a build tutorial, so I figured I may as well. This is probably the best solo, duo, trio, and even larger group-based design that I've ever seen for a couple of reasons. 1. The footprint begins with a simple 2x2 starter, and is expanded into a main base step by step. 2. The base design includes inner peak downs for an exceptional advantage during raid defense. This is what makes the 5x5 design so popular. 3. Ample storage, including drop boxes and bedrooms. Losing spawns in a raid defense is a guaranteed loss, and that will not happen with this design. 4. Simplicity. This base is not hard to build, but you still need to pay close attention, as the base is essentially made from 3 disconnected pieces. How you customize the interior of the base is totally up to you, but the build itself is dependent on stability in a few places, so make sure to follow along a little bit closely. The airlock itself comes with 3 notable features. You've got the reinforced window glass there for visibility, and the floor grills above it. But most importantly, you've got these little lowered bits with the upgraded foundation stairs. This allows you to peek through and prevents door campers. This area is the bottom portion of the inner peak downs. Each corner has 2 square rooms stacked one on top of another. I recommend using these as bedrooms, as each room can comfortably fit a turret, a locker, a bed, and a couple of small boxes where I would recommend storing building equipment for fast raid defense patching. The grass area beneath can be used to grow food or cloth, and I recommend placing a few large boxes here to make mobility easier. How you want to customize this area is totally up to you. Next is the inner 2x2 or the core of the base. This is logically where you would want to put your TC and main loot. Again, this area is 100% customizable. The way that I've arranged it here is just an example of how you could decide to organize it. The only important thing to note is that every socket of the inner core has a wall frame, or a floor frame. This is for the sake of stability. From the 3rd floor upwards, the base is totally symmetric. I figured that this area is a good place for furnaces, but you could easily turn these areas into loot rooms as well. I recommend using vending machines if you want to do that instead. From the 3rd floor, we have 2 points of access to the inner peak downs. There are 4 square rooms on this level, and once again, I highly recommend using these as bedrooms. Spawning on this floor fully kitted is going to be your best bet for defending a raid. You can access your outer shooting floor from the inner peak downs. There isn't anything particularly out of the ordinary on this floor, just the standard embrasure and single sheet door peak downs. However, one thing to note is the small gap where our disconnected pieces of the base come together. You can shoot through this, but the gap is quite small. Still something to bear in mind. The middle of this floor has some unused space. The primary purpose of these walls and wall frames is just to add stability for the roof, but this would be a perfect place to set up electricity or whatever else you might need the space for. And finally, these ladder hatches either side of the shooting floor will bring you up to the roof, where you can have a small hexagonal room to park a heli in or to place a windmill on top of. Again, up to you how you want to use this. Begin with a simple 2x2 low to the ground and upgrade to stone. I like to build them in this configuration for the extra loot space, but it's up to you. If you have the stone available, build an airlock onto the roof like so. and if not, just place a floor and upgrade to wood so that you can soft side it later on. The second phase of the build incorporates symmetrical wall-stacked external TCs. Place these triangles and count 4 squares out and place a triangle at the end. Now turn back and demolish the squares going back towards the base and the triangles coming off the 2x2. Go back to the square and build back with 2 triangular half moons and place 1 triangle at the end. Rinse and repeat with another 4 squares and a triangle. Demolish and build back another 2 half moons. Now this square is in place, build 2 triangles either side and upgrade to stone. Make sure to demolish these twig triangles off the 2x2, otherwise they will extend the TC range and your externals will end up further away than necessary. Build the hexagon off the square foundation and 2 additional squares. Then place 1 triangle for your first external TC and secure it with whatever you can. If you have the blueprint, a reinforced glass window works well. Mirror the exact same thing on the opposite side of the 2x2 like so. Now on the other side of the 2x2, build 3 triangles and a raised square with 2 raised triangles either side, the same shape as before. Now repeat this same pattern on the other side of the 2x2. Your footprint should look exactly like this. From your external TC, place a triangle followed by a square on both the right and left sides. Remove the triangle and upgrade the square to stone. And now mirror this on the other external TC. Make sure that you're working off the external TCs and not the ones next to it. If done correctly, your footprint will look like this. Next, we can beef up our 2x2 core by adding some basic triangular honeycomb and completing the second story. To add the honeycombing on the front door side, just place a half wall on this square foundation to bring things back to level and continue on as normal. We're nearly ready to complete the outer shell, but first we need to complete the third story of the 2x2 core to provide enough stability for the roof. Looking at the base from your external TC, place 2 wall pieces and upgrade to stone like so. Now do the exact same thing on the opposite side of the base. Make sure that the gap looks exactly like this. On the opposite side from the front door, do the same thing as earlier and place a half wall and a triangle floor piece and then complete the honeycomb up to the top. Now do the exact same thing on the front door side. The base should look like this from a bird's eye view. Complete the roof with 2 triangles and add another layer of walls around. Place wall frames on the half wall pieces. If you can't get the frame to snap, place a floor piece. This will make it much easier. This part is quite important. On this floor, place half walls and triangles like so. Don't upgrade them to stone. The reason for this is that these triangles allow you to place the peek down triangles as you can see here. Again, this is really important. Do not place these triangle peek downs just yet. First, we need to place a roof over the 3rd floor and complete the shell. The reason for this is that if the triangle peek downs are placed and upgraded first, then a square cannot be placed after, so the square needs to go down first. We need to complete the shell in order to do that. Just to make it very clear, the squares that I'm talking about that need to be placed first are the ones highlighted here. Once those are in place, you can get to work on your triangular peak downs. I've left the roof open here to demonstrate the purpose of the twig. To complete the inner peak downs, just follow along with the pattern that I do here. Once you're finished with the peak downs, go ahead and remove all of the twig. At this point in the build, we need to start thinking about stability. It is necessary that every single socket on this floor is occupied with a wall or wall frame. Again, totally up to you how you want to arrange it, but here's a perfectly viable example. At this point, your base should look like this. Now we need to cap it off with a roof. First, we need to add a half-walled triangle to these two locations on the base. This is just to provide stability for the roof. With both triangles in place, put a square off each edge and then fill in the rest with triangles. Place a floor frame over the top of each garage door, just like this. Now fill in the other two sections of the base. Just make sure to have the exact same gap as shown here. Now to complete this section, all we need to do is wall off the floor frame and place a wall frame on the outer side of the base. If you're having trouble with stability here, head down and place a twig half wall in the center of the floor beneath and try again. You can remove this twig after you place the floor piece and it will stay put. Now this is a perfectly acceptable place to stop building if you're happy with it. But keep watching if you would like to either build a shooting floor or a more sophisticated airlock, or both. There are three main parts left to the rest of the base design and they can be built in any order. Just prioritize what's most important to you at the time. Starting with the shooting floor, I'm going to do a top-down view as this is the easiest way to visualize what goes where. After finishing this floor, place all of your single door frames for the shooting floor on these slots. After all of your doors are placed, place your windows on the remaining slots. When it comes time to place the doors on the frames themselves, make sure that the doors swing outward over the gap like so. Completing the roof is very straightforward. All we need to do is place walls or wall frames on these slots, and this will provide enough stability to complete the roof. All you need to do now is place the triangle and square floor pieces in the exact same shape as the floor below. Just make sure the gap is the same between the top and the bottom. If you would like access to the very top of your base, delete one or both of these floor pieces and place a ladder hatch here instead. The airlock is very simple to build. From the external TCs, place a lowered square foundation and a high triangle. Place a half wall here so that you can build your windows, and then remove the half wall. Place the foundation stairs and upgrade to stone, then replace that half wall with a low wall instead. Place a second set of foundation stairs next to the first. This is to stop anybody from squeezing through. All you need to do is complete the same pattern on either side of the base. I'll speed things up here because it's pretty straightforward. If everything goes according to plan, this is what the completed base should look like. All that's left to do is complete the bedrooms in the peek down area. I would recommend placing your door frame to the left for all of the rooms on the first floor, then on the right for the second floor, and left once again for the third floor. And that's more or less the base build, boys. A couple of notes: you can do the airlocks before the shooting floor or the bedrooms before the airlock, etc. The order in which you build is up to you. Furthermore, I would recommend beefing up the external TCs a little bit when you have the materials. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything out. This is my first base build tutorial I've ever done, so it was a bit of a learning process for me. So let me know how I did, or if there's anything you think I left out. Cheers for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this incredibly elegant base design and get the most out of it. Full credit to hJune once again.